My name is Emily. I'm 28 years old, and I used to believe that love could fix anything. I thought that if you gave someone your heart, your time, and your loyalty, they would never betray you. But life doesn't always work that way. Sometimes the person you trust most can destroy you in ways you never imagined. When I met Jake, he wasn't like anyone else I dated. He was charming, funny, and confident. He had that kind of energy that made you feel like you were the only person in the room. I was working as a nurse at the time, living a quiet, simple life. Jake came into my world like a storm, unpredictable, but exciting. He worked in sales and always talked big. He said one day he would own his own business and that we'd travel the world together. I loved how ambitious he sounded. I wanted to believe in his dreams, even when he didn't have much to show for them. In the beginning, everything felt perfect. We went out for coffee dates, late-night walks, and long drives with no destination. He used to hold my hand and say, "You and me, Em, we're going to make it big one day." And I believed him. About 6 months into the relationship, Jake started acting different. He looked stressed all the time, took long phone calls, and often avoided talking about money. One night, I found him sitting in the dark, staring at his phone. "What's wrong?" I asked softly. He sighed and said, "I'm in a bit of trouble, Em. I made some bad business moves. I owe some money to people, but I'll fix it, I promise." I could see the pain in his eyes. He looked desperate, broken even. And in that moment, I didn't see a man who made bad choices. I saw someone who needed help. I told him, "You'll get through it. I'm here for you." He smiled weakly, kissed my forehead, and said, "You're the only good thing in my life." A few weeks later, he told me the full story. He had borrowed money from a private lender to start a side business, but the deal went bad. He owed more than $20,000, and the interest kept growing. He said the lender was pressuring him and that he was scared. I didn't have much, but I had savings, money I'd been keeping for a down payment on a small apartment. I wanted my own place one day, but when I looked at him, I couldn't let him suffer. I said, "Take it," transferring the money to him. "We'll figure it out together." He looked shocked, then he hugged me so tight that I could barely breathe. "You saved me, Em," he whispered. "I'll pay you back every cent, I swear." I smiled, but deep inside, I didn't care about the money. I just wanted him to be okay. I wanted him to see how much I loved him. After that, things got better for a while. Jake was happier. We went out again, laughed more, and he even talked about marriage. He said, "Once I'm back on my feet, I'll buy you a ring. You deserve the world." I thought everything was falling into place, but I was wrong. One night, about 2 months later, Jake told me he had to meet the lender in person to finish the last payment. I didn't think much of it. He said her name was Monica, a tough but fair businesswoman, he called her. I remember teasing him. "Oh, so you're scared of Monica?" He laughed nervously. "You'd be too. She's the kind of woman who doesn't take no for an answer." Something about the way he said it made me uncomfortable, but I brushed it off. I trusted him. The next few weeks, Jake became distant again. He stopped answering my calls right away. He started dressing better, wearing expensive cologne, and staying out late. When I asked him what was going on, he said he was busy with business stuff. One evening, I went to surprise him at his apartment with dinner. But when I got there, the lights were off, and his car wasn't outside. I waited for an hour before he finally came home. He looked startled to see me. "Em, what are you doing here?" he asked, his voice sharp. "I just wanted to see you," I said, holding the bag of food. "You've been so busy. I thought maybe we could eat together." He sighed, rubbing his neck. "You shouldn't just show up like that. I had a meeting." "With who?" I asked quietly. He hesitated for a second, then said, "Monica. She wanted to go over some papers." My stomach dropped. "At night?" "She's busy during the day," he snapped. Then, realizing how he sounded, he softened. "Look, it's nothing like that. You're overthinking." But that night, I couldn't sleep. Something felt wrong. My gut told me there was more to the story. A few days later, I saw something that confirmed my worst fear. I was at a coffee shop near my hospital when I saw Jake sitting outside with Monica. She was older than me, maybe in her mid-30s, elegant and confident, and the way he looked at her, it wasn't business. I froze. I wanted to believe I was wrong, but then he reached across the table and touched her hand. She laughed. My heart shattered. I didn't go up to them. I couldn't. I just stood there shaking, watching the man I loved smile at another woman, the woman he said he owed money to. That night, I texted him, pretending everything was fine. "Hey, how was your day?" He replied, "Busy, but I'll call you soon." He never did. For days, he avoided me. Then, out of nowhere, he sent me a long message. "Em, you're amazing, and you've done so much for me. But I think we need to take a break. I'm not in the right place for a relationship right now." A break? After everything I did for him? After I gave him my savings? I called him again and again, but he didn't answer. Eventually, I got a text saying, "Please don't make this harder. I need space." A week later, I saw a picture of him on social media, smiling, standing next to Monica at a party. The caption read, "New beginnings." That was the moment my heart broke completely. I sat on my bed, staring at the screen, and whispered to myself, "You used me, Jake. You used me for money and love, and now you're with her." Tears rolled down my cheeks, but under that pain, something else started to grow. Anger. Pure, sharp anger. I had lost my money, my trust, and my peace, but not my strength. And that night, I promised myself one thing. They were both going to regret it.
I didn't sleep that night. I just lay there, staring at the ceiling, thinking about everything I had done for Jake. All the nights I stayed up comforting him, all the sacrifices I made, all the dreams I put on hold. And for what? For him to walk away like I meant nothing. The next morning, I couldn't even get up for work. My phone was full of unread messages from my friends asking if I was okay, but I didn't reply. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I felt small, stupid, used. But when I looked at myself in the mirror with tears in my eyes and messy hair, something inside me changed. I said softly, "No more crying for him. No more being the victim." I didn't know what I was going to do yet, but I knew one thing. I wouldn't let him or that woman win. So I started by doing what I do best, paying attention. Jake had blocked me on most of his social media, but not on one old account he probably forgot about. I started watching everything, every photo, every tag, every comment. And soon, I began to see a pattern. Monica wasn't just some random woman. She owned a small investment company. She was rich, respected, and had a lot of connections. But she also had a reputation for being controlling. People said she didn't mix love with business. And Jake? He was suddenly living a new life. Fancy clothes, expensive dinners, new apartment. The same man who once said he couldn't afford gas money was now drinking champagne on rooftops. I knew exactly where that money came from. At first, I wanted to confront them both.
I even drove to his apartment once, but when I saw his car parked there with her car next to it, I froze. I couldn't bring myself to knock. Instead, I turned the car around and went home. If I was going to do this, I had to be smart. I had to think like them. I started by calling one of Jake's old friends, Kevin. He used to work with Jake in sales and always liked me. When I told him I just wanted to check in on Jake, he laughed bitterly. "Jake? That guy's a joke now," Kevin said. "He's just showing off because of Monica. Everyone knows she's his sugar mama." That word, sugar mama, made me clench my fist. Kevin kept talking. He keeps bragging about how she's investing in his new project. But you know Jake, he's lazy. If it weren't for her money, he'd still be drowning in debt. That's when an idea started forming in my mind. If Monica was funding him, she must have trusted him. And if Jake was the same liar he'd always been, it was only a matter of time before he messed up. I just needed to be there when he did. Over the next few weeks, I started following Monica's business online. She often posted about her investments and charity work. She seems classy, but I could tell she loved attention. That was her weakness, reputation. I also began rebuilding my own life, quietly. I picked up extra shifts at the hospital. I started saving again. I stopped checking my phone every minute, waiting for Jake's name to pop up. And slowly, the pain started turning into purpose. One day, while scrolling through LinkedIn, I noticed Monica's company had posted a job opening called Medical Investment Coordinator. My heart raced. That was something I could actually qualify for. I applied. At first, I did it just to see what would happen, but a week later, I got a call. "Hello, this is Monica Reynolds' office. We'd like to invite you for an interview." For a second, I couldn't breathe. I almost laughed. The universe was giving me the perfect setup. The next week, I walked into Monica's office wearing my best suit. She didn't recognize me at first. Why would she? To her, I was just another applicant. She smiled politely and said, "Nice to meet you, Emily. Tell me about yourself." I did, calmly, professionally. I talked about my experience, my dedication, my people skills. She seemed impressed. At the end of the interview, she said, "You seem very capable. I like strong women." I smiled back. "Thank you. I like strong women too." Inside, my heart was pounding so hard, I could barely breathe. 2 days later, I got the job. Yes, I was now working directly under the woman my ex-boyfriend left me for. When I showed up for my first day, I wore my calmest smile. The moment I walked into the office, I saw him, Jake, sitting in the lounge area wearing a suit that probably cost more than my rent. His face turned pale when he saw me. "Emily?" he said, almost whispering. I looked at him, pretending to be surprised. "Oh, Jake, I didn't know you worked here." He stared at me, speechless. "What are you doing here?" "Working," I said with a polite smile. "Monica hired me." Before he could say anything, Monica came out of her office. "Ah, Emily, you're here early. Come in, let's get started." I walked past him, my heels clicking on the marble floor, and I didn't look back. Inside her office, Monica offered me coffee and started talking about upcoming projects. I nodded, smiling, but my mind was racing. Now I had everything I needed: access, information, power. And for the first time since Jake broke my heart, I felt alive again. I didn't know exactly how I'd get my revenge yet, but I knew it would start here, in this office beside the woman he left me for. And the best part, they had no idea who they were dealing with.
Working for Monica was like stepping into another world.
Everything in her office was expensive. The glass walls, the gold pens, even the coffee smelled richer. She was the kind of woman who liked things perfect, from her red lipstick to her schedule. At first, she treated me kindly. She often said, "Emily, you're very organized. I like that." I smiled every time, pretending to be flattered, but deep down, I was learning, watching, waiting. Jake came to the office almost every other day. He was working as a consultant for one of Monica's new business ideas, some online platform he said would make big money. I knew that tone. It was the same kind of big idea he once sold to me before he drained my savings. Every time I saw him, I acted polite, calm, distant, like we had never shared anything, like he was just another coworker. But I could tell he was nervous. His eyes always darted toward me, like he was scared I'd tell Monica the truth. And maybe that's exactly what I wanted him to feel: fear. During my first month, I learned a lot about how Monica ran things. She trusted Jake completely. Too much, actually. She let him manage small parts of her company's investments. She gave him access to clients, deals, and reports. That was a mistake. I started to notice things: missing numbers, fake reports, and expenses that didn't make sense. Jake was doing the same thing he always did, playing with money that wasn't his. But this time, I wasn't the victim. I was the witness. One day, Monica asked me to prepare a financial summary for one of Jake's projects. As I went through the files, I saw it clearly. Thousands of dollars had disappeared. I could trace the transfers, and guess whose name was hidden in the details? Jake's. He had made fake invoices and sent payments to an account under a fake name. When I realized what he was doing, I felt that old anger come back. But this time, I smiled. He was digging his own grave, and I was just going to make sure he fell right in. That night, I stayed late in the office and copied every suspicious file onto a USB drive. My hands were shaking as I worked, not out of fear, but excitement. I knew what I had was powerful. The next morning, Jake came into the office early. He tried to talk to me when Monica wasn't around. "Emily, please, can we talk?" he whispered. I looked up from my desk. "About what, Jake?" He sighed. "About everything. I didn't mean to hurt you, okay? Things just got complicated. I didn't plan any of this." I tilted my head. "Complicated? You used me, lied to me, and left me for your lender. That's not complicated, that's cruel." He looked guilty for a moment, then said, "You don't understand. Monica—" I cut him off. "Monica what? Loves you? You think she doesn't know who you really are?" He frowned. "You don't know what's going on, Emily. Just stay out of it." "Stay out of it?" I said softly, smiling coldly. "I'm already in it, Jake. Deep in it." He looked confused, maybe even scared, and walked away. From that day, I made sure to play my role perfectly. I worked hard, acted loyal, and slowly gained Monica's full trust. She started calling me her right hand. One evening, after a long meeting, she invited me to join her for dinner. We sat at a beautiful restaurant with candles and soft music. She looked at me and said, "You're very sharp, Emily. You remind me of a younger version of myself. You don't let emotions control you." I almost laughed at that. If only she knew the reason I was sitting there, the heartbreak, the betrayal, the fire burning inside me. I said, "Thank you, Monica. I've learned a lot from watching you." She smiled, sipping her wine. "Jake speaks highly of you, too. He said you're very efficient." "Oh, does he?" I asked calmly. "Yes," she said. "He's a good man, ambitious. He just needs guidance." I forced a smile. I'm sure he does. Inside, I wanted to tell her everything, that he was a liar, a thief, a manipulator, that he had done the same thing to me. But I held back, because if I told her too soon, it would just sound like jealousy. I needed proof, solid proof. And soon, I got it. 2 weeks later, Monica went on a short business trip. She asked me to organize some of her files while she was gone. That's when I found a folder marked Private, Jake's Proposal. Inside were fake receipts, copied signatures, and forged emails. He had been stealing money right under her nose and planning to pin it on another employee if he got caught. I sat there in shock. I knew Jake was selfish, but this was worse. He was planning to betray Monica too. And that's when my plan became crystal clear. I was going to expose him, not out of anger anymore, but out of justice. For me, for the money he took, for every lie he told. But I wasn't going to do it quietly. No, I was going to make sure everyone saw who Jake really was. The next morning, I printed out copies of every file I found. Then I put them in a neat folder and kept it safe. I also emailed a backup copy to myself, just in case. When Monica came back from her trip, I asked to meet her privately. She looked tired but smiled when she saw me. "What's wrong, Emily?" she asked. I placed the folder on her desk and said softly, "You need to see this." She opened it, started reading, and her expression slowly changed. Confusion turned into disbelief, then anger. She looked up at me, her eyes sharp, and "Where did you get this?" I said quietly, "From your office. I'm sorry, but I couldn't ignore it. Jake has been taking money from your company." There was a long silence, then Monica stood up, pacing. "Are you sure this is real?" I said firmly, "Yes, I checked everything twice." She looked like she didn't know whether to cry or scream. Finally, she whispered, "Thank you." That night, Monica didn't go home. She called her lawyer, her accountant, and 2 of her business partners. The next day, everything exploded. Jake came into the office like nothing happened, smiling, holding coffee, and walked straight into a room full of angry people. Within minutes, his smile disappeared. And as I watched through the glass wall, I finally saw it. Fear in his eyes. The same fear I once felt when I found out what he had done to me. He tried to explain, tried to lie, but Monica wasn't having it. She threw the files in front of him and said, "You used me, Jake. You used my company." He turned and looked at me through the glass wall, his face pale. He knew. He knew I had done this. I just looked back and smiled.
The next morning, Mia woke up early. She looked in the mirror and saw someone she barely recognized. Not the broken girl who once cried for a man who used her, but a woman who had learned her worth the hard way. Her eyes were sharp, her mind was calm, and her heart was steady. She started working on her plan slowly, carefully. There was no rush this time. Revenge wasn't about shouting, crying, or creating a scene. Real revenge was quiet, calculated, and permanent. The first thing she did was focus on herself. She cut her hair short, changed her wardrobe, and started working out again. Every morning she would go for a jog, feeling her body grow stronger. Every evening she would write in her journal, not about pain anymore, but about goals, business ideas, and the future she wanted. A few weeks later, she started posting again on social media.
Not sad quotes or emotional posts, but pictures of her smiling, working, and glowing. People started noticing. Old friends reached out, even some new ones. Among them was a woman named Rachel, a small business owner who had seen Mia's photos online and wanted to collaborate. Rachel ran a handmade jewelry brand and needed help managing her finances and marketing. Mia agreed to help. At first, it was just part-time, but soon the brand started growing rapidly. Within months, Rachel made Mia her official business partner. Together, they turned the small shop into an online sensation. Mia was finally earning good money again. This time, not because she helped someone else, but because she helped herself. Then one day, something unexpected happened. She was checking her business emails when she noticed one from a familiar name, Liam, her ex-boyfriend. Her heart skipped for a moment, but then she smiled. She opened the email. "Hey Mia, it's been a while. I've been thinking about you a lot. I'm sorry for everything that happened. I messed up. I wish we could talk." She laughed out loud. The timing was perfect. She replied calmly, "Hi Liam, good to hear from you. Sure, we can meet for coffee. Let's catch up." The next day, she went to the cafe where they had their first date years ago. When Liam walked in, she almost didn't recognize him. He looked tired, older, and lost. The confident smile he once had was gone. He sat down, trying to sound casual. "You look amazing, Mia. Really. I've been following your business online. I'm proud of you." She smiled politely. "Thanks, Liam. How are things with Clara?" His face changed immediately. "We broke up," he said bitterly. "Turns out she was never really into me. She was using me to get close to one of my friends who invests in her company. She dumped me as soon as she got what she wanted." Mia stirred her coffee slowly, hiding a small smirk. "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. That must have hurt." He nodded, sighing. "Yeah, it did. But I realized I had someone who truly loved me. You. And I threw it away. I miss you, Mia." She looked straight into his eyes. "You miss me now because you have nothing left, Liam. When I had nothing, you left me. When I cried for help, you ran to someone richer. I don't miss you. I don't even hate you. I just don't care anymore." He looked shocked, maybe even hurt, but she didn't stop. "You know, the funny thing is, your betrayal made me strong. If you hadn't broken me, I wouldn't be here today. So in a way, I should thank you." He opened his mouth to speak, but she stood up. "Take care, Liam. I hope you find peace, but not with me." She walked out of the cafe, leaving him staring helplessly at her empty chair. For the first time, she didn't look back. Later that night, she told Rachel about the meeting. Rachel grinned. "That's karma at its finest." Mia smiled softly. "No, that's growth. I don't need revenge anymore. I just need to keep winning." But the story didn't end there. A few weeks later, Mia and Rachel were invited to a networking event for young entrepreneurs. It was a big opportunity. Investors, media, and business owners from all over the city were there. As Mia walked through the hall in her elegant black dress, she saw someone she didn't expect. Clara. Clara was talking to an investor, pretending to be confident, but when she noticed Mia, her smile faded. She walked over slowly. "Mia, wow, I've heard about your brand. It's doing really well." Mia nodded politely. "Thank you. I've heard about you too. Your company had some financial issues, right?" Clara's face stiffened. "Yeah, some investors pulled out. We're rebuilding." Mia smiled faintly. "I'm sure you'll figure it out. After all, you're good at convincing people to give you money." Clara didn't reply. She just walked away quietly, realizing that the woman she once looked down on had risen far above her. That night when Mia got home, she looked out of her window at the city lights. Her heart was calm. She whispered to herself, "They took everything from me once, but I rebuilt my life, stronger, smarter, and free." And for the first time in a long while, she slept peacefully.
Months passed since that night at the business event. Mia's life was finally peaceful. Her morning started with sunlight spilling through her apartment windows, the smell of fresh coffee, and the sound of her phone buzzing with new orders from their online shop. She was no longer chasing love, money, or approval. She was building her own world. The jewelry business she started with Rachel had become one of the most talked about local brands. Influencers were wearing their pieces, magazines were featuring them, and investors were finally noticing. They weren't just surviving anymore, they were thriving. But the best part? Mia finally loved what she saw in the mirror. Not the perfect hair or flawless skin, but the strength in her eyes, the quiet confidence of someone who had walked through fire and came out shining. One afternoon, Rachel came running into the office holding her phone. "Mia, you won't believe this. We've been invited to showcase our designs at the Women in Business Expo in Los Angeles." Mia's eyes widened. "Wait, the international one?" Rachel nodded. "Yes, it's huge. This could take our brand global." Mia felt her heart race with excitement. "We did it, Rachel. We really did it." The next few weeks were a blur of preparation. Designs, packaging, travel plans. When they finally arrived at the expo, Mia couldn't believe how far she had come. Just a year ago, she was crying over a man who used her. Now, she was standing in a room full of powerful women, sharing her story through her work. Their booth attracted a lot of attention. A few investors stopped by, and one of them, Evelyn Carter, a well-known businesswoman, spent extra time looking at their collection. "You have something special here," Evelyn said, holding one of the bracelets. "I can see the story behind every piece. Who's the designer?" Mia smiled softly. "I am. Every design represents a part of my journey: pain, loss, strength, and hope." Evelyn nodded thoughtfully. "I like that. Let's talk business. I'm interested in helping your brand expand overseas." Mia and Rachel exchanged excited looks. They had worked so hard for this moment, and now it was finally happening. Later that evening, Mia returned to her hotel room, exhausted but happy. She stepped out onto the balcony, looking at the glowing city below. She thought about everything: the nights she couldn't sleep, the tears she had shed, the people who broke her heart. And yet, somehow, all of it led her here. Her phone buzzed, a text message. She glanced at it and froze for a second. It was from Liam. "I saw your article in the business magazine. You look incredible. I'm proud of you. I wish things had gone differently." Mia stared at the screen for a moment. Then she smiled, not with anger, but peace. She typed a simple reply. "Thank you, Liam. I wish you the best too." She put her phone down and went back to her work. That chapter was over, completely. A few months later, her business was featured on a national TV show. Orders poured in from around the world. Rachel managed operations while Mia became the face of the brand, giving interviews and inspiring other women who had faced betrayal and loss.
During one of her interviews, the host asked, "Mia, you've spoken about heartbreak and betrayal in your past. How did you find the strength to move on and build all this?" Mia smiled softly, her voice steady and warm. "When you lose everything, you realize what really matters. Love can fade, money can disappear, but your strength, that's yours forever. I stopped chasing people who didn't value me, and I started building a life that did. That's how I found peace." The audience clapped. Mia felt tears in her eyes, but they were happy ones. That night, she celebrated with Rachel and their small team. They toasted with sparkling juice, and laughter filled the air. For the first time in her life, she wasn't scared of tomorrow. She had learned that revenge wasn't about making others suffer. It was about becoming so strong that no one could ever hurt her again. As the night ended, Mia stood by the window again, looking out at the stars. She whispered to herself, "I was once broken, but now I shine brighter because of it." And she meant every word. The woman who once paid her boyfriend's debts and was left with nothing had rebuilt herself from the ground up. She had turned pain into purpose, betrayal into power, and loss into legacy. And this time, she wasn't living for anyone else. She was living for herself.